video lecture number 42.4. Have you earned your tomorrow? By Edgar Guest, Part 3. Hello dear students and dear friends. In my last video lecture, I discussed the important points of the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow and the content of the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow in detail, line by line. Today too, I will continue with the same poem and I will discuss the margin activity and the figures of speech in the poem. First, we'll go to the margin activity. There is only one margin activity in this poem. So friends, open your textbook of English and open the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow and see the margin activity on page number 112, or you can also see it on the screen in front of you. Now the margin activity is that is given in blue margin. How do you greet your elders? Now this question is, or this activity is somewhat personal response type of activity. So its answer may differ. Now I tell you my answer. Once again I repeat the question or the activity and then I will tell you the answer. How do you greet your elders? The answer is, whenever we meet our elders, we greet them with a great respect and love. According to the tradition of our own country, India, we touch the feet of elders. We also fold our palms and say Namaste as per our Indian greetings. This comes from the word Namaskar. This word Namaste comes from the word Namaskar. Now let's go to the figures of speech. Now see the figure of speech in the very first line. I will tell you the figure of speech in the line. First I will read the line, then I will name and explain you the figure of speech in that line. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? In this line, the figure of speech is interrogation. Now friends, first understand what is interrogation. When an idea or fact is emphasized by using a question which does not require an answer, it is interrogation. I repeat, interrogation is a figure of speech. Now what is interrogation? When an idea or a fact is emphasized by using a question which does not require an answer, It is interrogation. In simple words, in interrogation, a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. In simple words, in interrogation, a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. In interrogation, instead of a statement, a rhetorical question is used. For example, I give you one more example apart from the example in the poem of my own, and that is, this is the example of interrogation, the figure of speech. Who can challenge the will of God? Who can challenge the will of God? This is the example of the figure of speech interrogation. Now, how to write its explanation? Answer, interrogation, underline dash, and then you have to write in its explanation as, here a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now come to the line in the poem. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Here interrogation is there. How interrogation is here? Here a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now come to the second line, next line. Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? In this line also there is interrogation, because here also a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea of or a fact. An idea or a fact. Now see the third line. This day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Now in this line the figure of speech is alliteration. How alliteration is here? Here the sound of T or the sound of the letter T is repeated pleasingly. Here the sound of T is repeated pleasingly. Now the next line, that is the fourth line. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Again the figure of speech in this line is interrogation. Here a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now see the second stanza, the first line. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Again the figure of speech in this line is interrogation. Here a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now see the next line, second line. Or a churlish sort of howdy, then vanish in the throng. The same figure of speech. See the third line. Were you selfish, pure and simple, as you rushed along the way? The figure of speech in this line is alliteration. Here the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. Here the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. Now see the next line, the last line from Second stanza, or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Now here in this line the figure of speech is interrogation. Here a question is used or asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now let's go to the third stanza. Let's discuss the figures of speech in the third stanza. In the third stanza, see the line, third line of course. Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Now in this line there are two figures of speech. The first one is alliteration. How alliteration is here? Here the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. Now see, in alliteration friends, the word sound is very important. So while writing the explanation of the figure of speech alliteration, you have to write explanation as alliteration underline dash. Here the sound of, so here you have to use the word sound and not the letter or alphabet. Or you can say here the sound of the letter, but sound is compulsory in both the cases while writing the explanation of the figure of speech alliteration. So here the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. Or you can also write the same explanation in a different way, like here the sound of the letter S is repeated. Sound of the letter S is repeated pleasingly. Both are correct, but in both the cases while writing the explanation of the figure of speech alliteration, the word sound should be used, because alliteration is the repetition of the sound represented by the letter or the alphabet. It is not the repetition of the letter or alphabet. Now another figure of speech in the same line, is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said, is synecdoche. The line is the same, but in this line there are two figures of speech. One is alliteration, that is already discussed. Now another figure of speech in this same line is synecdoche. Now understand first what is synecdoche. When in the line of the poem a part refers to the whole or a whole refers to the part, there is synecdoche. Means in synecdoche a part refers or represents the whole, or vice versa, the whole refers to a part. Now see the line, in a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said. In this line there is synecdoche. How synecdoche is here? Here the word heart, which is a part, refers to a whole, that is the person who is rejoicing. In this line the word heart, which is a part, refers to a whole, that is a person who is rejoicing. So there is synecdoche. Now see the next line, the last line in the third stanza. Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Now in this line the figure of speech is interrogation. How interrogation is here? Here a question is used are asked to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now let's go to the last stanza of the poem. See, did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? See the first line from the last stanza. Did you waste the day or lose it, or was it well or sorely spent? Again, the figure of speech used in this line is interrogation. Here, a question is asked or used to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now see the second line. Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? In this second line of the last stanza too, there is interrogation. There is interrogation. How interrogation is there? Here also a question is asked or used to emphasize an idea or a fact. Now see the third line. As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say? In this line, the figure of speech used is alliteration. How? Here the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. In the first line of this stanza, fourth stanza, did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? In this line too, there is another figure of speech, and that is alliteration. So alliteration, because here also the sound of S is repeated pleasingly. So thus we have discussed all the figures of speech in this line. So mainly interrogation, alliteration, these two figures of speech are used a lot, and along with these two figures of speech there is one example of synecdoche also. Now let's discuss the rhyme scheme. Now if you go through the rhyme scheme of the poem, you will find the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is A B B, and the same pattern of the rhyme scheme is followed in the rest of the poem. So the rhyme scheme of all the stanzas in this poem is A B B. So this is what about poetic devices in this poem. Friends, as far as this poem is concerned, this poem contains the homonyms too. Now what is homonyms? Homonym is a word that is spelt and pronounced like another word, but that has a different meaning. Now, as I had already explained you that we are discussing the poetic devices, so we have to discuss the different types of words used in this poem, and so we are discussing the homonyms with reference to the poem and the homonyms used in this poem. In this poem there are few examples of homonyms. Now what is homonyms? Or what is a homonym? Homonym is a word that is spelt and pronounced like another word, but that has a different meaning. So a word that is pronounced and spelt like another word but has a different meaning is a homonym. For example, see the word bank, BANK, bank. Now this word pronunciation, spelling same but has two different meanings. BANK, bank means river bank. Another meaning, BANK, bank, a place where money is kept. So these is what these are the two different meanings of the same word bank, which is spelled and pronounced similarly. So it is a homonym. So in this poem there are few examples of the homonyms. You have to list them, you have to find them out and give their meanings. I tell you the words, like one word is spoke, another word did, etc, etc. So you have to find out the homonyms from this poem and you have to give the meaning of these homonyms at your home in your register or long book. So friends, we should stop here. In my next video lecture I will discuss the brainstorming section and poetic appreciation of the poem. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.